Welcome to English and Emotions, where love meets language.
Welcome to the deep dive, where we really try to plunge into some fascinating currents of knowledge, bringing you, hopefully, the essential insights you need to navigate our complex world. Today, we're tackling something I think almost everyone has grappled with at some point. That undeniable knot of nerves, right? That whisper of shyness, especially maybe when you're stepping into new social territory, or perhaps most acutely, when you're trying to forge a genuine connection with someone new. It's that moment where you want to put your best foot forward, but your feet feel, well, a little stuck. But what if I told you there's a powerful tool, maybe even a kind of secret weapon, not just for communication, but for building really profound personal confidence, particularly in those vulnerable dating scenarios? Today, our deep dive explores exactly that. Our insights are drawn from excerpts from Dating Confidence, a language learner's journey, which is, I think, a truly compelling piece of material. It offers this unique lens into how something as seemingly academic as, linguistic pursuits can unexpectedly empower us in some of life's most vulnerable and often most rewarding moments.
Indeed. And our mission with this deep dive really is to meticulously explore the specific insights within these sources. We want to highlight precisely how embarking on a language learning journey can fundamentally transform an individual's path from shyness to genuine self-confidence. And critically, this transformation isn't just confined to dating alone. Its benefits, well, they ripple far beyond. We'll be dissecting the practical applications laid out in the material, and perhaps even more importantly, uncovering the broader psychological benefits that kind of weave their way through one's entire life.
So, whether you've ever felt a little tongue-tied, maybe a bit unsure in a new social setting, or you simply want to discover surprising pathways to boosting your overall social prowess, join us now as we uncover these truly unexpected connections. Let's get started. Okay, so the sources for our deep dive, they immediately draw us into a very human story, don't they? Starting with a powerful personal journey. It's described as a narrative arc, a kind of trajectory from shyness to a newfound self-confidence, specifically within the realm of dating. This isn't just some abstract theoretical concept, is it? It feels like it's about a deeply relatable, very real human transition that resonates with so many of us.
That's precisely why the material begins there. It's so effective because of the power of that narrative. When you encounter a story of someone wrestling with and ultimately overcoming shyness, it taps into a really common human vulnerability. I mean, almost everyone at some point has felt that hesitation, right? That anxiety in social situations, especially when the stakes feel as high as they often do in dating. And the genius, I think, of framing this transformation within the context of language learning is that it provides this unique, almost structured laboratory for personal growth. Learning a new language inherently pushes you outside your comfort zone, but critically, it does so in controlled, incremental ways. You start with small steps, you inevitably make mistakes, that's part of it, you learn from them, and you grow. This gradual progression is, I think, a remarkably powerful parallel for building social confidence. It's not about some sudden magical metamorphosis, but rather a deliberate series of small accumulating victories that kind of scaffold one another, reinforcing a growing sense of capability.
That makes perfect sense, this idea of small, manageable steps building up. And the source specifically mentions that a soft narration guides the listener through this journey. That sounds, well, gentle. How does that kind of gentle guiding approach specifically foster confidence rather than potentially overwhelming someone who might already be feeling quite vulnerable?
Right, the significance of soft narration here is quite profound, especially when we're dealing with topics as sensitive and personal as shyness and dating. You have to contrast this with, say, more rigid, prescriptive learning methods. Imagine a language app that's constantly, flashing incorrect or harshly highlighting every single grammatical error. For someone already feeling insecure, that kind of approach would likely just amplify anxiety, wouldn't it? It could potentially shut down their willingness to even try. A gentle, guiding approach, on the other hand, is more like having a supportive mentor or maybe a wise friend by your side. It reduces that immense pressure to perform perfectly. Instead, it encourages exploration, experimentation, and maybe most importantly, it normalizes imperfection. This kind of narration understands that learning, whether it's the language, a new skill, or how to navigate social interactions, involves making mistakes. It has to. So it creates this safe psychological space for taking risks. And taking risks, putting yourself out there, even if it feels awkward, even if you stumble over a word, is absolutely vital for building confidence in any new skill, but especially in fluid and unpredictable social situations like dating. It's about being gently nudged forward, rather than being pushed off a cliff. This subtle yet powerful distinction fosters resilience and a willingness to persist. And to connect this further to the core concept, just think about how the very act of acquiring a new language intrinsically forces you to engage with the world in a different way. You're constantly learning, adapting, and perhaps most importantly, embracing imperfection. I mean, think about it. You have to put yourself out there. It might be something simple like practicing a new phrase with a stranger, or maybe something more challenging like navigating a misunderstanding because of a grammatical slip up. This regular, often daily practice of vulnerability and resilience is a direct, highly transferable skill for social interactions. It profoundly teaches you that it's not only okay not to be perfect, but that communication is fundamentally more about making a connection, about conveying meaning and intent, than it is about flawless execution. You learn to tolerate ambiguity, to recover from missteps, maybe even find humor in your own errors, all invaluable lessons for dating.
That's a really powerful point. Dating, yeah, in so many ways involves a significant degree of vulnerability and a willingness to make mistakes. You might say the wrong thing or misinterpret a cue or sometimes just not click with someone. So how does the more structured, maybe somewhat predictable environment of language learning genuinely prepare someone for the much less structured, often unpredictable reality of dating? It feels like a bit of a leap, maybe, but you're arguing it's actually a natural progression.
It's an excellent question, and it really highlights the unique catalytic power of language learning in this context. Think about the typical trajectory of language acquisition. You generally begin with, well, simple phrases, basic greetings, maybe ordering coffee, right? And then you gradually build up to more complex sentences, expressing opinions, engaging in more nuanced conversations. This progressive nature of learning, this incremental building of complexity, it perfectly mirrors the gradual development of dating confidence. You're not immediately thrown into the deep end where you're expected to deliver some flawless, captivating monologue. Instead, language learning provides you with foundational tools to initiate simple interactions, gain small, tangible successes, and then build on those. For instance, successfully navigating just a basic exchange in a new language, even just asking for directions and understanding the reply, that gives you a concrete win. That small victory reinforces your inherent ability to communicate and connect, which then encourages you to take the next, slightly more complex social step. This incremental scaffolding is absolutely key, and it raises an important question, doesn't it? Does success in one structured area, like mastering a basic conversation in a foreign language, naturally transfer to another, less structured area, like engaging confidently in a social setting or a dating context? I would argue that it absolutely does, and the sources strongly imply this. The underlying psychological mechanism is really the same. You're taking a calculated risk, you're performing an action, speaking, making eye contact, you receive immediate feedback, understanding, maybe a smile or reply, and then you refine your approach based on that feedback. This constant cycle of practice, feedback, and adjustment, which is just inherent to language learning, trains your brain for resilience and adaptability skills that are not just desirable but essential in the unpredictable dance of social interaction and dating. You become comfortable with discomfort, and honestly, that's a superpower in social settings.
Okay, here's where it gets particularly interesting for me, because our sources highlight specific actionable tools that contribute to this confidence. And one of the first behaviors mentioned is positive self-talk. This feels foundational, doesn't it? It's not just about language, it's about how you frame your entire internal world.
Indeed. Positive self-talk is absolutely crucial. And it's crucial because it's not merely about, wishing for confidence. It's about actively, consciously, deliberately reframing one's internal monologue. It's about intentionally shifting from those ingrained self-doubts or negative assumptions to supportive and empowering affirmations. Think of it like consciously directing your inner coach, making sure that voice inside your head is your biggest cheerleader, not your harshest critic. Now, the truly unique opportunity here, and what makes it so fascinating in the context of learning a new language, is that practicing positive self-talk in a new linguistic context can feel significantly less tied to past insecurities or perceived failures. Those might be deeply ingrained in one's native tongue, right? Your native language carries the echoes of every past awkward moment, every self-critical thought you've ever had. But when you practice positive self-talk in, say, Spanish or Japanese, it can feel like a genuine fresh start, almost like an unburdened canvas. It's almost as if you're creating a new, more confident internal voice from the ground up, kind of free from the historical baggage of old doubts and anxieties. The psychological mechanism at play here is remarkably powerful. By consciously choosing positive affirmations, you are literally training your brain to support you rather than sabotage you. You are actively, through repetition and intent, rewiring neural pathways. This creates a far more conducive internal environment for external success. If your inner voice is consistently telling you you can do this, or it's perfectly okay to make a mistake, that's how you learn, you are far more likely to take the necessary social risks that lead to connection and growth. This isn't just fluffy feel-good advice, it's a proactive mental strategy that genuinely paves the way for authentic external confidence. It's about replacing maybe a lifetime of negative self-talk with a new, empowering narrative, one sentence at a time, one language at a time.
That's a powerful transformation on the inside. Okay, moving to the outside, the source specifically mentioned starting with very basic conversation starters in English, things like, "Hi, I'm Name, it's nice to meet you," and then vocabulary about emotions such as nervous and excited. It sounds almost too basic on the surface. What's the genius in starting with these seemingly simple phrases? They feel almost too rudimentary to be profound, but there's clearly a very strategic method here, isn't there?
You've hit on a crucial point there. They seem deceptively simple, but their strategic importance is immense, especially for language learners navigating the complexities of social interaction. For someone who might be struggling with fluency or feeling overwhelmed by the pressure of a new social situation, having ready-made functional phrases reduces cognitive load. Think of your brain like a computer with limited processing power, right? When you're in a high-stakes social situation like a first date, your brain is already working overtime. You're trying to read cues, formulate responses, manage your own anxiety, remember what you just said. That's a huge cognitive load. By automating simple phrases like greetings or basic introductions through practice, you free up mental bandwidth. This means you don't have to expend precious mental energy struggling to find the right words or construct grammatically correct sentences on the fly. Instead, you can focus that energy on the interaction itself, on listening intently, observing the other person's expressions, and just being present in the moment. These basic phrases provide a vital, low-barrier entry point for connection, allowing the learner to initiate contact without feeling completely lost for words. They are the essential keys, really, that unlock the very first door to communication. But the strategy goes deeper. Let's delve into the significance of emotion vocabulary, being able to articulate feeling nervous or excited. Why is this so powerful, particularly in a dating context? Because it allows for authentic vulnerability. When you can genuinely say, I'm a little nervous right now, but I'm really excited to meet you, it has this disarming effect. It doesn't just fill silence, it shows self-awareness and can immediately foster a more genuine human connection. It signals that you're comfortable enough to share a personal feeling, which can then invite the other person to maybe reciprocate and share something of themselves. This isn't just about mere linguistic fluency, it's about emotional intelligence expressed through language, which creates a far deeper and more resonant rapport than simple factual exchanges ever could. It makes you relatable, and that's incredibly attractive.
It's fascinating, moving from just saying words to using words to connect emotionally. But how does the act of repeatedly practicing these seemingly simple phrases, whether it's a greeting or expressing an emotion, actually build actual tangible confidence? It feels like it could just be rote learning, but it's clearly much more than that based on what you're saying.
Oh, it is far, far more than rote learning. Imagine trying to learn to drive a car while simultaneously trying to understand how the engine works, where the gears are located, and what each pedal does, all for the very first time, and maybe in heavy traffic. You'd be completely overwhelmed, right? But if you practice the basics in a controlled environment, starting, stopping, turning the wheel day, those actions gradually become automatic, second nature. It's exactly the same principle with these phrases. When you practice them to the point of automaticity, they transform from memorized lines into reliable tools you can wield effortlessly. This frees up enormous mental capacity. Instead of agonizing over what to say next or how to construct a grammatically correct sentence, you can shift your focus to how you're saying it, to maintaining eye contact, to genuinely reading the other person's expressions, and most importantly, to being fully present in the moment. Each successful use of a practice phrase, no matter how simple, provides what psychologists sometimes call a micro-victory. It's a small, tangible validation of your capability. These micro-victories accumulate slowly but surely, building a robust internal sense of self-efficacy that's the belief in your own ability to succeed in specific situations. You repeatedly experience, okay, I can do this, I did do this, and that cumulative lived experience built from hundreds of small successes is the bedrock of genuine, lasting confidence. It teaches your brain that social interaction, even in a new language, isn't a minefield, but actually a navigable terrain where you have the tools to succeed.
Okay, so once we're maybe a bit more comfortable with the words themselves, our sources also shift focus beyond the verbal to the impact of body language. Why is this such a critical component, especially for language learners who might already be feeling self-conscious about their verbal skills and worried about stumbling over words?
You've hit on a profoundly crucial point there. Body language often speaks louder than words. Or at the very least, it profoundly shapes how our words are received and interpreted. For language learners, who might still be honing their verbal fluency, who might momentarily stumble over a phrase or search for a forgotten word, confident body language can bridge those linguistic gaps. It can convey openness, friendliness, approachability, and project self-assurance, even if the verbal delivery is a little hesitant at times. Think of it as a kind of universal dialect of communication that transcends linguistic barriers. If you approach someone with open posture, a genuine smile, a relaxed demeanor, and good eye contact, you're already communicating willingness to connect, curiosity, and confidence, even before you utter a single word in their language, or maybe even in your second language. It's about ensuring your physical presence aligns seamlessly with your verbal intentions, creating a cohesive and congruent message of confidence and approachability. It sends a message basically, I am here, I am open, I am listening. And this isn't just about outward appearance either. There's a powerful, well-researched feedback loop at play. Consciously practicing confident body language, things like standing tall, maintaining appropriate eye contact, offering a firm handshake maybe, or keeping an open stance can actually make you feel more confident internally. Your physiology directly influences your psychology. Even if an individual feels a flutter of nervousness internally, adopting these confident physical cues can gradually alleviate that nervousness and lead to a genuine increase in self-assurance over time. It's a powerful tool for self-regulation and self-improvement, allowing you to kind of act as if until the feeling becomes real. It's almost like your body is sending signals back to your brain saying, hey, we're okay here, we've got this, which then helps to calm your internal state.
That's a fascinating concept. So it's almost like learning a new dialect of communication itself, where your body has its own grammar vocabulary. That's a truly insightful way to look at it.
Precisely. You are, in essence, learning to speak with your entire being. Just as a verbal language has its syntax and its lexicon, body language has its own intricate set of cues and signals. When these are combined effectively, say, a smile paired with open arms, engaged eye contact alongside a relaxed posture, they create a coherent and impactful nonverbal message. You learn what an open posture looks like, what engaged eye contact truly means, or how a relaxed and genuine smile is conveyed. These are gestures, expressions, and postures that function much like words or phrases in a nonverbal language. And just like verbal language, they can be consciously practiced, refined, and deployed strategically to enhance your overall communication and, by extension, your social confidence. It's truly a holistic approach to interaction, recognizing that we communicate through far more than just the sounds we make. It's a crucial layer of authenticity and impact, especially when your verbal fluency might still be a work in progress.
And finally, in this section on practical tools, the sources highlight practicing phrases like, you look great, or maybe that's a fantastic idea. This seems like such a small detail, almost a simple politeness. But what's its broader significance in building dating confidence beyond just superficial flattery?
Well, this particular skill, the art of giving a genuine compliment, is incredibly significant, and for a multitude of reasons. It's really not just about simple politeness or flattery. It's about positive social engagement. When you offer a sincere compliment, you're demonstrating keen observation. You notice something positive and specific about the other person, right? You're also actively valuing another person, acknowledging their efforts, their appearance, or maybe their ideas. This act immediately shifts the focus from your own internal anxieties, am I saying the right thing? Do I look okay? To an outward act of appreciation. For a language learner, practicing compliments provides a practical, low-stakes, and universally positive way to initiate interaction and build rapport. It's a conversation starter that immediately sets a positive tone, an easy win that creates a comfortable opening for further discussion. What makes this skill both empowering and practical, as the source suggests, is that it gives you agency in initiating a positive connection. You're not merely reacting to the other person, you're actively creating a positive social dynamic. It's empowering because you feel capable of contributing meaningfully and positively to an interaction, of making someone else feel good. And it's intensely practical because complimenting is a widely applicable social grace that works in countless contexts, not just dating. It allows the learner to move from simply understanding words or phrases to actively engaging with and positively influencing the social dynamic. It's a small linguistic act with a significant social ripple effect, boosting not just their perceived confidence, but their actual capability to foster good feelings in others, which in turn reflects positively on them. It's really about building bridges, one positive statement at a time.
So after diving deep into the personal journey and all these practical tools, what does all of this mean for the bigger picture? Our sources include a fascinating note from a language coach stating that mastering dating conversations specifically boosts confidence in social interactions. This feels like a huge takeaway, doesn't it? It suggests the benefits go far beyond just finding a date into something much more expansive.
This is indeed a monumental takeaway, and it truly speaks to the profound ripple effect of focused skill development. Why does success in dating conversation translate so powerfully to broader social confidence? Well, if you think about it, dating is often one of the most high stakes, deeply personal, and crucially, often unscripted social interactions an individual can experience. It demands this unique blend of vulnerability, emotional intelligence, quick thinking, and the ability to adapt to an unpredictable dynamic. Successfully navigating such a challenging arena builds an incredible reservoir of resilience, adaptability, and fundamental self assurance. These are not skills confined solely to romantic encounters. They are profoundly, universally applicable to a myriad of situations. Think about networking events, high pressure job interviews, forging new friendships, or indeed any situation requiring nuanced, agile, interpersonal communication. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it highlights how specific, challenging applications of a skill can forge a remarkably robust foundation for all related endeavors. Think of it maybe like a challenging workout specifically designed to prepare you for a marathon. Once you've successfully trained for and completed that marathon, every future run, even just a casual jog around the block, feels easier and more manageable. The physiological conditioning, and perhaps more importantly, the mental fortitude and self belief gained in that intense preparation transfer effortlessly. Similarly, the confidence gained from mastering dating conversation acts as an unparalleled training ground. It makes all other social interactions feel significantly less daunting and much more achievable. You've kind of conquered what might be considered a peak challenge, so other social hills suddenly seem much smaller.
That makes incredible sense. And the sources also say this entire process opens doors to connections. What kind of connections are we talking about here, specifically, beyond just romantic ones? It sounds like it's hinting at something much broader and deeper for one's life.
Precisely. While the initial impetus and the focus might be on dating, the increased confidence stemming from consistent linguistic and social practice naturally, almost inevitably, leads to more opportunities for all forms of meaningful relationships. When you're more competent in initiating conversations, in expressing yourself authentically, and in navigating social nuances, you become inherently more approachable and significantly more willing to engage with others. This process actively breaks down both internal barriers, like that paralyzing fear of rejection or the discomfort of awkwardness, and external barriers, as others perceive your openness and confidence. It's about building a richer, more vibrant social life across the board. The ultimate goal isn't just to get a date, though that can certainly be a wonderful outcome. The deeper, more profound benefit is the ability to forge genuine human bonds across various contexts. New friendships that enrich your daily life, professional connections that open up career opportunities, and even stronger, more authentic ties with existing acquaintances. It's about enriching your entire social ecosystem, really, making your world larger and more interconnected.
So then, is this entire process about becoming someone entirely new, like adopting a different persona? Or is it more about simply allowing a more confident, perhaps more authentic version of oneself to finally emerge and thrive?
That's a beautiful distinction, and I wholeheartedly believe it's far more the latter. This isn't about fabricating a new personality or adopting some superficial persona that feels inauthentic, not at all. Instead, it's about dismantling the barriers, the deeply ingrained shyness, the corrosive self-doubt, the pervasive fear of judgment that might have been obscuring and holding back your true self. Language learning, particularly with this intentional focus on social application, provides the concrete tools and, crucially, the safe practice environment to systematically chip away at those barriers. It allows the confident, articulate, and connection-seeking individual who was always there, underneath the layers of anxiety, to finally emerge, to flourish, and to truly express themselves. You're not becoming someone you're not. You're simply becoming more fully and freely who you truly are, uninhibited by past anxieties and empowered by new skills. It's like personal liberation through language. This, then, transforms into an extraordinarily motivating message for learners, doesn't it? Why is this particular framing so powerful for someone embarking on a language learning journey, or perhaps someone who is struggling with the perceived difficulty or maybe the tediousness of it? Because it elevates language learning far beyond just an academic pursuit or a purely functional skill for travel or work. It transforms it into a deeply personal development tool, a journey of profound self-discovery. When learners internalize that their efforts in mastering vocabulary and grammar can directly and tangibly impact their social confidence, their ability to connect authentically with others, and their overall personal growth, it imbues the entire learning experience with profound meaning and purpose. It's no longer just about rote memorization or achieving a certain fluency level on some test. It becomes a powerful journey of self-empowerment and personal transformation. This makes the commitment far more compelling, sustainable, and ultimately rewarding than any purely intellectual endeavor ever could be. It shows them that the why of language learning can be deeply, deeply personal.
That truly suggests that the benefits of language learning are far more holistic and far-reaching than many might initially realize. It's really not just about words and grammar, is it? But about unlocking entirely new parts of yourself and new possibilities in your life. We've covered quite a transformative journey today, haven't we? We started by understanding the core personal transformation someone can experience, moving from crippling shyness, perhaps, to a vibrant self-confidence through the deliberate incremental act of learning a new language. We then explored the practical linguistic and social tools that empower this shift, from the psychological power of positive self-talk and the strategic genius of basic conversation starters, all the way to the profound nuances of body language and the art of sincere complimenting. And finally, we saw how these newfound capabilities ripple outward, enhancing not just dating prowess, but truly all social interactions, ultimately opening doors to genuine, meaningful human connections across every aspect of life.
This journey, then, I think it raises an important, maybe deeply personal question for you, our listener, to mull over. If dedicating yourself to learning a new language can unlock such profound confidence and connection in an area as vulnerable and personal as dating, where else might a commitment to learning something entirely new surprise you with unexpected personal growth and incredible new connections in your own life?
A truly wonderful thought to ponder. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's given you some surprising insights and maybe sparked a new perspective to carry into your own life and learning journey.